Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Incubator Podcast. We are live at the CHNC Symposium in Denver, Colorado. And Daphna, how's everything going for you?
It's been a day. We're learning a lot, and we've got a handful of interviews left.
Yeah,
looking forward to them.
We're joined this afternoon by Dr. Karna Murthy from Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago. Karna, you've been on the podcast before, both during the CHNC and on the Sunday interview. So welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, same. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the things at the CHNC Symposium this year that you've been excited about? Some of the things you've heard that got you pumped up?
Yeah, I think sure. I think that like in big scopes, we are so thrilled with the engagement, the attendance, the growth of our symposium since our first meeting of 26 people way back in 2009.
Yeah.
So that's been great to see people so involved. From the consortium itself, I think what I really wanted to highlight is our recent risk adjustment work that we've been able to really launch in the last few months. And it was really fun to present this meeting.
Yeah. So what is risk adjustment? Is it like risk management?
I wish it was. Thankfully, no. That's great. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know it. So what we, I think across centers, what we have learned over the years is that the centers want to compare the babies and their outcomes. And they want to find centers that are doing things well so they can learn from them and improve their own practices. I mean, that's the holy grail, right? Is to get better tomorrow than we are today. And one of the criticisms to do that through all the work that we had done up until fairly recently is that it's hard to compare centers because everybody's worried that one set of centers has sicker patients or different patients than the other hospitals. So the risk adjustment work that we started to do is really try to level that playing field to compare apples to apples across centers so that we can now say, well, here's a center doing something well, here's a center that has an opportunity to improve, and they can talk to each other about how to improve.
Yeah.
And so that's been the goal.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the logistics of that? Like, what does the mathematics look like? How do you do the risk adjustment?
Well, I don't want to get too much into the math, but the fundamental piece is that we've taken some rare diseases like diaphragmatic hernia, like children with severe BPD and children with gastroschisis, and there's a few more coming down the pipeline. And we've asked experts and in these fields, what are the things that make one baby with this disease sicker or healthier than another? So, for example, well-established one for children with diaphragmatic hernia is that they have a thoracic liver.
Right.
Was it up in their chest, right? And so that finding typically is a risk factor for non-survival or worse illness. So we have done statistical adjustments for that individual variable for children with diaphragmatic hernia and about 7 or 8 others that are published in the literature and hypothesized by our surgical colleagues, by our neonatologists, and created an equation and a model that says across centers, adjusting for all these things, here are the differences in outcomes.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
And on our website and on our SharePoint site, we were just about to release these calculators so people can log in and say, wait, I have a baby with this, but not that, and this without that. Enter their characteristics, and we can estimate their predicted outcome. Very similar to the NRN's extremely low birth weight calculator that's been out for a couple decades now. Now we are doing this for rare disease like diaphragms, like gastroschisis, and now severe BPD.
Now, this is impressive methodology. So how long have you been working on it?
Just depends when you start counting,
That's
Daphna. Dr. Evans and I have been talking about this idea since about 2008.
Yeah.
And then in our CHNC leadership, we've been needing to wait for sufficient patient accrual in our database to have the ability to do this. And now we're there for some rare diseases that I don't know that we ever thought this would be possible. But with the growth of CHNC and the accrual of patients and centers, it's just something we're able to provide for the consortium. We're going to try to make something more publicly available, but we're none of us are computer scientists to make a web page, but we're working on it.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And how do you anticipate centers will use this?
So I think 2 or 3-fold. I really think it can help parental and staff expectations in counseling. Now we have a tool. You can enter individual level data estimate their outcomes, and that might be not quite in line or not quite have the precision of what we are doing in the current state. And managing expectations is part of what we do as a clinician, right? I think the second point is what I mentioned, is just for hospitals that have an opportunity to improve their practice, they now know who to talk to, who to call at different hospitals to say, hey, what are you doing or not doing that we are, that has this chance to improve our outcomes. It's certainly not true research and true experimental design. But I do think this has the opportunity to sort of raise the floor, and that helps babies, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
It's the basis of collaboration, and the basis collaboration is the basis of QI.
For sure.
Right.
What
That's
do we
right.
say? The tide floats all
All
boats.
boats. That's correct.
So how does the benchmarking work between hospitals? How do they find out where they stand?
Yeah, so on this, so I think in the papers that are coming, and we have an actual intercenter variation graph that shows which hospital ranks where, and rank's not the right word, just what their observed outcomes were. In the tool that we're designing, it names the hospital, their expected outcome relative to other centers, so they can see where they fall in the distribution. So that's how they'll see it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I love that. We just want to take the opportunity. You have been on the CHNC Planning Committee, I think, since its inception. What's next for the symposium, for the conference itself? I mean, obviously, I think workshops and networking are such a huge component. We said it's a real active working meeting, so there's a lot getting done at the meeting itself. What are your hopes for the future?
I think the easy answer is we want to fill the gap of what our membership wants.
Yeah.
So if our membership wants more journal clubs or more training sessions on skills in neonatology, like POCUS or hemodynamics, those are things that we're offering now.
Yeah, we have a few this year already.
That's right. And next year, we'll find those places or those interests that might serve the current and next generation of neonatal providers to build their skills, to get more content. So we're planning like a pre-symposium day next year to fill things like BPD colloquiums, which we did this year again like last. We are looking to ideas to work on antenatal counseling, perinatal palliative care, perinatal viability, in addition to sort of the complex topics of renal replacement therapy. So those are all ideas that we're planning for next year's conference. So it's just great to see that people are interested in passing on what they've learned to other hospitals and other clinicians that may not have those resources. So we're excited.
Very cool. Karna, we wanted to thank you also as one of the members of the planning committee for the CHNC for having us here. It's always a pleasure, and we always love engaging with the CHNC team. So thank you very much, and congratulations again on this magnificent conference.
Thank you again. We look forward to all the collaborations in the future.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.